Hey everybody, it's Flake, and I just want to take a different approach to a video over here. And this one's more a bit of an opinion piece, or kind of like my stance on something that maybe some people are not necessarily too aware of because they play Gwent in a more casual setting and they don't take tournaments too seriously, or they don't necessarily pay attention to the more nitty-gritty rules and regulations surrounding competitive Gwent. I'm very in tune with competitive Gwent. I love competitive Gwent. I love high-level Gwent. It's something that I really appreciate. And there was something that was brought up in my stream a few days ago regarding just a little bit of a reaction from other pro players regarding teams and the way that teams essentially prepare or execute their tournament, not schedule, but their tournament play. So what I'm talking about are specifically are when in smaller community-based tournaments, which there are plenty of, when a individual A, let's say, is entered in a tournament, then that person is part of Team X. So when they're playing in their Swiss rounds or their elimination rounds or whatever, I mean, when you're playing online in an online tournament, there's only so much you can do to actually monitor gameplay and integrity and ethics, etc., and make sure that the rule of the law is abided by. It's really difficult when everybody's all the way around the world playing from their own respective homes, and it's very much a matter of just, it's a gentleman's agreement that no one cheats and no one does things shady and whatnot. Now, that's naive of me to think that everything that it's ever happened goes without, little blotches here and there of people sort of skirting the rules or bending the rules. But what I'm talking about is when someone named Larry, let's say, is part of a team called the Super Larrys, and Larry's in a tournament, and all the other members of that tournament are screen sharing on Discord or whatever while he's playing the matches, and they're discussing the gameplay. I think that is grade A wholesale bullshit. I think that is really not cool at all. Now, there's nowhere in the rules that says you can't do that. But at the same time, there are a lot of unwritten rules. Now, I grew up playing baseball for over 20 years. Unwritten rules and baseball is like go hand in hand. So it's kind of one of those things where you uphold the integrity of the game in order to not break the unspoken rules. For instance, you don't steal bases when you're ahead by like 10 runs in a no-nothing game, right? And like in a game that means nothing. Things like that. You don't throw curveballs to shitty pitchers when they're up at bat. I know these sound ridiculous, but if you know baseball a little bit, you know what I'm talking about. The same goes with other sports as well. In the game of competitive Gwent, if you are in a tournament and you're part of a team and your team is there guiding your play and discussing every match, and there's 3 or 4 of you talking it over every play, that's garbage. No offense, that's not you winning a tournament, that's your team winning a tournament. And I understand that teams are important. I am all for teams. I am part of a team. I'm saying that a team can be fantastic and can do fantastic things. There have been teams who have prepared together for so many months and nearly years now to attain greatness in a particular tournament atmosphere, and they have done so. They have succeeded. Their players are excellent. They have done magical things by just being prepared all together and going in. But when you execute, when you're there in a tournament, you should be doing it on your own. It is one of the things that is such total horseshit if you are there and you think you're an all-star because you have 4 great minds together to discuss something, because your experience is not the same as their experience. So you're not winning a tournament. It's a conglomeration of people, which is kind of unfair for the people who go into these tournaments and who prepare on their own, who might not have the same pool of resources to act upon. And you could totally disagree with me, and that's fine, because literally in the letter of the law, there's nothing against that kind of there's nothing to say that you can't do that, I guess. I just think it's total bullshit is what I'm trying to get at here. And it's just for someone who goes in and plays, let's say someone plays 500 games and they're prepared for a big tournament and they go and place. Suddenly, that 500 game of experience, you'll play against 500 different opponents or whatnot with different decks, and that's your resource pool. But the other person who's part of a team has your 500 games plus the 500 games of other people around him. Now, how many games you play or whatnot is irrelevant. But what I'm saying is that people might be good at particular decks. I suck at Skellige decks. I'm admittedly so. I hate playing them, and I'm not good at them. But if I had to enter a tournament, I would have to play Skellige deck most likely because it's a pretty powerful faction. What I'm saying is, if I had someone in my back seat that was essentially calling the shots for me, GPSing my way through a game, and then I win that game with Skellige, I didn't win that game. That guy won that game. And that's horseshit because the person on the other side might think like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to ban Skellige because he's terrible with Skellige. But suddenly someone in my backseat who's backseat driving me through this navigating through the tournament, it's a whole different story. Now, I want to show you something because it might be important. Here's the letter of the law straight from Gwent, playgwent.com in their esports Gwent Masters tournament thing. It's under cheating. And I hope you guys can read this. I'm just going to read this real quick. Cheating, 14.3. Cheating of any kind will not be tolerated and includes but is not limited to any of the following, whether actual, attempted, direct, indirect, intentional, or otherwise. And I think that's important to say, to highlight, is that whether actual or attempted is first. So if they achieve their cheating or if they accomplish it or not, and as well as intentional or otherwise, whether you think you're cheating or not, that's also needs to be discerned. So here's what I'm talking about. Using D, subsection D of 14.3, using someone else's account aside from an account which CDPR, CD Projekt Red, or third-party tournament organizes specifically provides to participants for the Gwent Masters. Now, that's specific to the Gwent Masters because they get special accounts to do their thing, and it's not a big deal. But what it says is that using someone else's account, I don't know if they mean having third-party backseat people, but maybe they should specify that. And maybe this is a rule that should probably be hammered in, or a point of shame for some people. And I don't know specifically who's doing this. I've heard rumors back and forth of different teams that are out there and they might play as a team in particular tournaments, and it's garbage. No offense, but that should not bring you any points of like merit on your, in your medal case. Don't put that on your mantle if you won a tournament because you had 5 people sort of guiding you here. 2, 3, 4, 5 people. It should be one person playing a tournament, and that's it. And that's what I'm kind of getting at over here, is that this might be something that's unwritten now, but maybe it's something moving forward that certain smaller scale tournaments should probably look to start writing in, putting down, setting in stone that if you are playing and screen sharing and having other people monitor and guide, that maybe that's not okay. And I know that the limitations of technology and whatever mean that you can't always figure that out. But the rumors are already swirling, and there's already people talking about it, and there's already people getting pissed off about it, about this kind of team-based tournament play. 4 people playing one account and then, maxing out their experience and their talents onto one account to win a tournament. I'd feel bad if that was someone who had really prepared hard and then gets stuck up against the entire roster of Team X who are just a list of all-stars. I don't know, I'm not suggesting any particular solution to this. I think that maybe this is something that people should be aware of, first of all, and secondly, maybe should start thinking about whether or not this is okay. That's all I'm getting at. I want to say thanks for listening to my opinion, and that's about it. So, yeah, it's horseshit. And that's it.